general for the situation, so... that means bottom left-hand side is going to be Reynor. Let me just quickly edit that. Alright, so... bottom left is Reynor, top right is Maru, and we get ourselves into game number 9. My friends, been into quite a set of games. Again, this is not the deciding map yet. We still have one more player from each team available, one more revive available from each team. For whoever loses here, and then potentially loses the next game. So it is first to 6 points on the scoreboard that will decide this. If you're watching this one on the YouTube, I really feel like my YouTube is not on 1080 right now as well. If you're watching this on YouTube as well, by the way, just quick mention again that this video might be split into a couple different parts, maybe even 3 parts if some of the games are very long and so on. Not 100% decided, but if you do enjoy, do like the video and help others find it. And obviously don't forget you can subscribe to the YouTube as well. Helps us out a whole bundle. Just thought I'd throw that in just in case we somehow end up on 3 videos, or maybe this is just a second part and it hasn't been mentioned yet. Oh, it's nice to just try and keep the YouTube up and running. It's actually funny, after Maru gets revived, he beats Clem, who is the person he lost to, so both Maru and Clem, on the day, have both beaten every single player of the other team. Not bad, not bad. Obviously, Maru now has the chance to go and do it all again. Reynor will try to stop him. The start of this game, nothing too crazy right away, huh? Just going to be a factory on the way up, command center coming through, a couple of queens are building as well. Obviously, our Lings will fight with the Reaper to begin with. We come back in. We actually get another nibble, but that's the first dead Zergling. Queens are out, just on the wrong side of the hatchery. Now he's running around the hatchery to try and catch the Reaper. Reaper! Ooh. I thought he was dead. But he is out alive. For the moment, at least. So Reaper gets to stay alive. Ling speed coming through. Hatchery coming up. As our Overlord moves into the middle of the map, the reactor comes down, and the factory will land on it. Just going to be seeing third CC, no surprises there from Maru, just going to play straight into the economy. And the starport coming up behind it all as well, so pretty typical, pretty much your go-to standard ZVT at the moment. And kind of the same from Reynor, third hatch is coming up. He does have this Reaper back in the main, so Reynor is going to be scoured again. Maru obviously very intrigued to know just exactly where Maru is at, where Reynor is at, sorry, whether he's tacking up, whether he's got a lair on the way or something already. Just trying to confirm anything he can, basically, right? Extra information is only ever going to be a good thing, right? So that's what Maru is kind of playing for in those moments. His 2 Hellions down the right side will join with the Reaper, and just going to be seeing the Fusion Core on the way. Oh, wow. Are we going to play mech? I mean, obviously you can play BC into bio as well, but you know, maybe a bit of mech play. Remember when they played in the season finals earlier this year that Maru used a couple of different mech builds against Reynor due to the cross-server situation, and actually was a couple of times successful with it. Reynor would go to win out in the end. Yeah, Reynor even back then said, it's like, well, mech's not that good, but, you know, I didn't play against it in a while because all these Terrans stopped doing it, so, you know, it can be good when you're not fully prepared to play against it. So scouting going to be important for him. Dealing with this BC effectively will be important for him, as initially a Viking comes across the map. And we do see a... Is that the 4th gas already taken from Maru? I think it is, which really would just indicate that this is going to be full-on mech play rather than a transition back into bio, so... With 6 Hellions and a Reaper come down, we do see the Overlord getting a little bit of a heads up on that right from the start. That is going to come through, and just a creep teamer going down already. And just going to see these few Queens continuing across, and just going to be having the Reaper and the Hellions continue to get chased away over that right-hand side. The Viking is actually maybe going to get this overlord, which is a nice little pick off. Queen wants to try and get some damage on the Viking. Will only find a couple shots. And Reynor, he's starting melee upgrades because he doesn't know it's mech yet. He doesn't have that information. That's why the Viking is really good. You can see 3 overlords killed, so all of Reynor's potential scouting is being denied. And this is where mech can be really good, where you play mech and your opponent doesn't know it's mech, so they're setting up to play against bio, and they're just so unaware. And especially when you play double upgrades before the lair, that is something which is going to hurt a lot as well. It's something which wasn't done for a long while, but when they do this now, you really are not close to a lair, so the Spire isn't up in time to help deal with the BCs very early on. And yeah, from Reynor's point of view, the moment he knows this is mech, he might finish the melee upgrade and then play Ling Bane Roach. But he does need to start making this be a little bit more kind of anti-Roach. The Queens here are going to have to start fighting this BC. They do have some transfusions available, starting to run Queens back a bit as the Fuelings trying to hold this up. 22 newlings on the way. BC taking a lot of damage. Do we have one more transfusion? Apparently not. If he did, he didn't land it, as these Hellions are now in a mineral line. A lot more Lings on the way through, though, and having to deal with the BC with the Queens has kept them busy, which means that now these Hellions are just on a rampage. 12 drones going down. The saving grace here, arguably, is that you're playing against mech. And a lot of the time, mech, even if you do good damage early, doesn't go on to win the game. We had a situation of this just yesterday when we were casting Dark and Cure. Cure killed 20+ workers early in the game, dominated the first 15 minutes, and lost 30 minutes in with mech, because mech can just not end games easily. And I wouldn't say that this amount of damage done so far is the amount of damage that is just going to send mech into an insta-win. And while it seems like a lot, it is recoverable for Reynor, so that's the good news for Team Europe here in this Olimoleague Invitational. Armories are on the way on either side. Roach Roaring is building, and obviously Reynor, like I say, adapting. He does let melee upgrade finish, but he will build missiles. He will play kind of Ling Bane Roach, so it's worth still having the melee upgrades. They're still going to be useful. He will build a Spire too, because, well, you're going to need some sort of proper anti-air to deal with these BCs eventually. For now, the Queens will continue to do what they can. But yeah, eventually you're going to need some Corruptors to come out and really help you, as at least Queens having enough energy to get some transfusions up. That goes a long way as well. And that obviously helps out a whole bundle as well, also. This two BCs down the left-hand side. We do have them making a play. A Spore Crawler right on that left side edge. He's going to start to take some damage already. Some of the Queens coming through and just going to continue to punch through the battle cruisers at the moment. So BC's taking some hits. And they're going to get pushed down into that corner. The Banes are going to split up a little bit as well. So we're going to see a few Lings going to start running through here. And just going to see a couple of them connecting. Now the Banes turn back around, looking for a cluster of Hellions. Good pullback from Maru. Essentially kind of defending against that and minimizing damage taken with Blue Flame. Now you've got these Hellions running through. The drones are stacking up. Start splitting them a little bit more, perhaps. 7 so far. I feel like this could have easily been up to 12 already. He gets 11 at the very end. I mean, continuing the damage done is nice, but when do we actually get that big push that Reynor's going to really struggle to fight? This BC just teleported in, didn't it? So this BC is a goner if any amount of Corruptors come out. Now just the Queen's chasing it away. Reynor has a bit of minerals and gas in the bank, wondering what he's going to spend it on. 2 BCs in the main have just Yamato down a couple of Queens as well. Again, just trying to take the attention away, I imagine, as there's no Spore in this main base either. Now Corruptors start to build. They could have just built sooner though, right? I mean, he's had the Spire done for a while. And honestly, just a few Corruptors would have been really nice to chase that one BC up the right side of the map away, because then you probably could have had a kill at least on one battlecruiser. But obviously Reynor just caught up, get a bit flustered trying to deal with all of this. This is obviously now getting to a point where surely the damage is good enough for even mech to come through and have a game-winning push, but I've just seen mech lose too many times, guys. I'm scared to believe in it, you know? I really am. I'm scared to believe in it. And it's not about Maru. I really do believe in Maru, but it's about the fact he's playing mech. Like, I just don't like that, you know? So, yeah, the fact he's playing mech is pretty freaking scary, that's for sure. As we get ourselves these few Hellions out around the bottom side. It's going to be running straight into the bottom here, and a couple of drones already dropping. Just going to be seeing the Lings coming around to try and wrap around this. The Roach is coming through, and a few of these Hellions continuing to go down. 10 workers killed. Again, just a lot of workers going down. Every single time you're rebuilding drones here as Reynor, it's time you're not rebuilding units. It's mining time lost. 15 workers go down. I mean, it's just brutal. And surely As we get towards maxing out, we're going to see something of a push now from our Terran player. He's got mech upgrades still coming through. He's got BCs still floating around the map. He's back to the center here. We'll pick off a creep teamer and go for a couple more. Creep teamers continuing to be felled now. As we do okay with this. Again, quite a lot of this creep continuing to go down. So pretty good cleanup. Not bad at all, really, as you just see Reynor obviously being held back to his own half of the map. As this mech army maxes, the issue Reynor really has is he's getting maxed himself. He just doesn't have like a massive bank to rebuild off of, right? So you are not going to have an instantaneous rebuild of like a full set of units if you get fully traded out. And I do wonder just how much Ling Bane it is as well. He's wolfing in a few Banelings right now. Ravages come through a few bars. I mean, that's an initial siege tank kill, so that's an effective play. So that's kind of the start that you want when it comes to looking towards a fight here. And here we go. Reynor's actually going to run in. I mean, a lot of these Corruptors obviously going to busy themselves with the BCs. They instantly teleport out. Now you've got all these Corruptors which just don't help on the ground army, and that becomes very awkward, right? Because then you're playing what is honestly, I mean, 18 supply of BCs with what, like 30 supply of Corruptors or something? Corrosive Biles again going down, trying to play effectively with these Ravagers, doing whatever you can at the moment as we re-engage in. And we actually are going to see just, doesn't quite find the final Bile needed to get that siege tank. That's an annoyance. And as Reynor losing a few drones, this push from Maru staying stable in the center. The Corruptors have found the BCs, so that's nice because now you've killed the BCs. I mean, the only problem is these Corruptors don't have a future use, so you kind of have to trade them out by just going after buildings. I mean, Maru is absolutely going to get this base, right? We're going to dial down a few more tanks. I mean, the only good news is still a lot of the tanks in the back aren't quite in range. Banes just roll into the first tank they find, which isn't really pretty. Now a few Lings coming through. I mean, it almost feels like it could be okay because there's just not any Hellions to support this, but it's not the case yet. A new BC on the way as Corruptors, by the way, are still having some fun in the main. Cyclones are kind of dissuading them from continuing to kind of really just pick off buildings, truly. I mean, Cyclone's going to kill Corruptors pretty quick when they get those lock-ons. Macfield is done. Reynor loses this forward base. A handful of extra drones go with it. And just now we saw to rebuild BCs. I imagine it's because you probably think as Reynor that the BC kind of stage is done now that you've cleaned it out one time. They have a bigger push in. Corrosive Biles get a double kill on the top left. As we continue to fight here, the last tank falls, and for now, Reynor will finally stabilize in this game. Without a tank line, with it only being Cyclones, they're generally in a much better position as Reynor. Against Cyclones, you can now maybe think about even getting into a few Vipers and stuff, right? Getting into some of your proper later game tech. Because if you can get a few Vipers out, that will be really nice, because you can then abduct in those Cyclones to the army, and that's how you're going to try and find some efficient trades. You either want Vipers or Infestors, some kind of spellcasting to aid with the Cyclones, and then just stop the Cyclones from kind of kiting you, basically forever. So that's what you want to be kind of aiming for in that regard, is Cyclones and Hellions will move around the left-hand side. We'll see, now you're at this kind of stage of mech where you've got a lot of map control again, you've got a lot of mobility with the units that you're playing with, so we'll be seeing that be a bit of a factor also, I'm sure. As you see these Cyclones already working down here. A couple of Spines are going to try and help out, but Cyclones really will just melt Spine Crawlers as well. And now you've got units on the left and the right, so Reynor's going to have to be able to split his units, and he is doing so. The Banes crash in! Wow! I mean, the Banes do fantastic, and the Cyclones log on for the hatchery, but he's going to push them out of range, and that's a lot of units killed for Maru, and Reynor is going to defend his side of the map, so beautifully done. That was what he needed, because he defended the bottom right too. He got units down there. He didn't lose either base, so Maru is not going to stop him from mining with those attacks. That is actually a pretty big moment. Really good defense from Reynor just when it was needed as well, because if you lose his base again, that mining is going to be slowed down once more. And it just becomes tougher and tougher right at that stage. So, wow, nice critical timing defense right there for sure. To get ourselves ready for more. Pushing back around is going to be seeing our fight coming through. In the center we go. A few Banelings already crashing into the first few units. A few Cyclones coming in as well. The Ravager Bars trying to keep this at bay. Reynor already on a big rebuild. I do wonder how much Reynor is affected by the fact that I think it's fair here. You could argue that I think you'd quite fairly argue that obviously this is a situation in which he's never really still been able to tech up as much as he would like to, right? Like, there's absolutely a world in which Reynor has so many more units than he still has right now. And just different units as well. Like, a few Vipers like he has is not exactly the best case scenario. He's going to Blinding Cloud into this fight. Abducts a tank in as well, bringing whatever he can forward. Beautiful Biles. He's double killing the tanks whenever possible. He's going to run out of units here, though. He's still moving through. He's got a few Banes that just don't have anything good to connect on. A couple of Hellbats apiece. Isn't really value, and he's just not quite got the supply. Another Bile to get one more tank. I mean, this one BC just sat overhead is genuinely causing issues as well. Something else Reynor needs to still consider and find an answer to right now. It's just going to be seeing this continuing to be seemingly Maru favored. Reynor, I just don't think you can afford to lose this base. He kills the BC with Biles, though. That's a mistake from Maru. No way you can phrase it otherwise. That is not meant to happen. Single tank over there, being hit by a single link. Probably not going to do much. Reynor has some units like right in the middle. I want to see what that run by is on the top side. I think it's just a group of links catching reinforcements, as the Ravagers will get a few kills here as well. This is the frustrating part of mech, right? It's like just as you feel like you're starting to probably trade well and win out, you just have to wait so long to rebuild and to go again, that then the Zerg gets back, and now they find a couple good fights. And that's obviously an issue in itself, so yeah, definitely a factor here as we see Reynor actually able to clean up in the center. I really did think this was starting to look, like I say, I said it right, more and more Maru favored, but turns out to not be the case, and yeah, it turns out to not be the case, and here we are with still a lot of lings on the map, and I gotta assume that that is something of an issue as well still, right? That they're still playing with just so many Zerglings here. This base does go down as a new BC shows up, so BC has its way, and now Reynor has to fall back and lose a bunch of units as well, so the back and forth kind of aspect of this matchup and this Zerg versus mech play continues. Only a Cyclone going to rotate the right side. I mean, Reynor just needs an extra base up, I think. He's going to try and take the far left. He's going to run by the top left-hand side of the map. There's a planetary here, but if he just wraps around it with lings, it might not be so bad, right? You probably just get the kill on this, and this base does go down, so that's nice. Going to see our spine crawlers on the right picking away at some of these Cyclones. Just going to be seeing all of them getting cleaned out. This bottom right side is going to fall. I just don't think Reynor can keep this up. I think he's lost too much economy too many times. And I think Maru is going to make mech work. Yeah, to me it's still crazy though, because I feel like you just have to work so hard to make this work, right? Like, it feels like this was such an uphill battle after you honestly has such a decent start as well. Game is called, and Maru is going to take map number 9, and he's going to take Team Korea onto match point here in this Olimoleague Invitational. Let's get into that game. Let's jump into what could be the last match, as we do have I'm assuming this is Clem in the blue again, right? They've been pretty consistent with the colors. We do have in the bottom right side then Maru. That means in the top left we do have Clem. Alright. Depot on either side as we get this underway. No proxies to begin with, so not going to be seeing any of that like we had earlier. This is the third time that Maru and Clem played a day. I want Clem to win, and that's not just my European bias. I just want to see the final game. You know, I want to see who they send down to see if they can actually, if someone other than a Terran can win today when it comes down to the final map. was going to see our SCV going across and having a little bit of a scout, of course, initially, see what exactly is going on, see what's up. It's going to be coming through, having a look around. Obviously, Reaper coming up on either side right now as well. So just getting that up and rolling, as we do have the factory starting on both sides of the map also. So just getting that going, getting that underway. And so far, just mirroring each other. Not really too surprising, right? Just going to follow each other's kind of lead, and we'll see where the differences start to arise. Very different map when they played on Pride of Altaris. Just much smaller, much shorter. Much more deadly when it comes to counterattacks. You've got to be a lot more on top of your game here, I would say, to make sure you're not kind of letting your situation slip away. A little bit of lack in map control. Suddenly your opponent is sieged up on your side of the map on top of your bases. And that is just very deadly, so a lot of reason to be cautious, basically, is what I'd say more than anything else. A lot of good reason just to be very cautious overall, and we'll see if that caution can be applied on either side. We'll see where this all ends up, of course, very soon. Let's just get this underway, guys. Just a nice little setup. Getting started and seeing where we are gonna go. Reapers hop in from Maru, so he's going to be the one to get a couple SCVs here initially, but SCV's going to go down the other side as well. Clem's also got 2 Reapers in, so still mirroring each other as Maru gets an extra worker initially. He actually gets 2 more so far. Clem's waiting on a Cyclone to pop out, so is Maru. They're both just waiting on those additional the factory unit to pop, so they're both just going to keep on killing workers. Okay, well, we're just going to have an economy reset here. Cyclone comes in. Clem actually loses 1 less worker, right? Or 2 less workers? 3 less workers! Oh my goodness, Clem got the value at the very end there. Clem kills 12 SCVs, Maru is only going to kill 9. That's actually pretty significant when you look at the fact this is now, 18 versus 15 workers. I mean, that's a serious percentage increase from one to the other there. That's like a 12% better economy or so. That's pretty crazy. To have that kind of an economic advantage come out of a situation which is meant to be just so similar between the two of them. Very, very interesting. Very, very cool. Oh, the series has still got some fun in it, huh? It really does. It's still got some fun in it. Let's see what happens as we kick off into the next stage then. Just a few workers lead for Clem, but that can absolutely go a long, long way right now. That is for sure. Here comes 2 more Reapers from Maru, though. Is that going to be where Clem is going to lose his worker lead? Yes! Oh, he's losing a bunch of SCVs that are low HP. Oh, man. Well, that is actually going to be a bit of a difference maker, huh? He loses 5 more workers, and suddenly Maru's just going to turn it around just like that. Oh, well, that's a little bit brutal, huh? Just when it was looking oh so good, it suddenly looks oh so bad again. Well, I mean, this evens out the working out. Maru will be a couple units behind because obviously he gave up a couple more Reapers there, so that's extra damage he took in terms of his army and what he invested into earlier for the sake of getting those extra SCVs, which, like I say, has more or less evened out the situation across the board now. So, I'm going to see Clem actually going to be coming across the map, maybe trying to take advantage of the army supply a little bit here. Got a Raven. Not sure what the defense looks like from Maru exactly. His Marine going across the map from Maru actually is going to not really see any of this coming across. Clem could just get a siege on the reactor and so on of his opponent. That'd be pretty cool until you see like a Viking come out and push that Raven away, get rid of the high ground vision. But until then, this could actually be pretty effective, to be fair. Nice little siege position. The Cyclone actually takes a shot as well. Just going to start working on the barracks. I'm not sure if we're in range of the depot. In fact, he's going to go for 2 tanks in range. I mean, you can Matrix as well, right? And he's just going to he's going to auto turrets. I don't hate the auto turrets. I didn't hate the auto turrets initially, but then he doesn't actually get a tank out of it, so it feels like Clem maybe getting into a little bit of trouble. He's going to try and push up over here, but there's a tank siege, and you just can't really justify that. I think Clem dropped 1 less turret there, though, so he does maybe keep or maintain a little bit of Raven energy advantage. Also a factor. So many things are so far in this game. So many just little things that these two are playing around. Clem, 3 workers down, but still has like a 9 army supply lead. That will increase by 1 here as well as he gets the Marine, which is trying to scout. Just deals with that once more, does a pretty good job of it. Yeah, Clem back into the middle of the map. Now, Stimpack is coming through. That's going to be a Maru advantage, so he is going to be the first player to stim. I'm taking a 4th gas already, as his 3rd CC is building on location as well. So Maru is going to be way more aggressive. I don't even think he built a 3rd base, and he's building 2 more barracks. For TvT, that's not super normal. It is something that's being done. It is something that happens. It just means that usually a lot of the time players go straight into all of their kind of, you know, much more so in towards that kind of 3cc. But now Maru's going to be the aggressor, so Clem must become the defender here, else he will be in a lot of trouble. If he tries to be aggressive against someone who has the faster racks and everything, this just doesn't end well for you. So you gotta be pretty careful about that. You gotta be sure of what you're putting yourself into right now, as you do see SCVs of Clem going down. 4 workers as the Raven comes in. He's going to have the Raven back in again for another auto turret, so Maru just continuing to harass at the moment. Clem having to continuously deal with this. He still has units across the map. Clem still has an army supply lead, and obviously his opponent is, you know, playing a dangerous game. An army supply lead, and he's also got, you know, a Cyclone on the map, a Raven that's been using energy offensively rather than defensively. Definitely ways in which you can make this work out heavily in your favor, I think, as Clem. Let's see, Maru just going to move forward. Has a good amount of Vikings. I mean, Clem has 4 Ravens. 4 Ravens you don't usually go to, because it gets to a point where having Ravens is meaningless versus having Vikings to zone out Ravens. But if he can just run in now and Matrix everything, he's pretty slow in the first round of Matrixes, but he will just Matrix literally everything. Do we have one final auto turret coming through? I mean, he needs to get these Marines forward and clean out these tanks. If he doesn't clean out these tanks, this is just going to be it, and he's got 2 left to go. He gets out of range at least, but I don't think that was enough, guys. I don't think that was going to do it for Clem. And Maru is going to be able to just hold this now. Supplies are still pretty even across the board. Maru has like an 8-worker lead, though. And that tank volley is pretty deadly as well. And remember that Maru's already got Stim, and he's already on the way to 1-1 in combat shields. So he's getting into a way better position with that also. Definitely a factor to keep in mind in this. Just a few things not quite going the way you want them to right now. If you're a Clem or a Team Europe fan, unfortunately, guys, it's just not quite looking as though it's going to end up in your favor. As Maru is getting into a better and better position than his TvT. It looks as though he might be able to make this a 6-4 victory. I mean, to be fair, it's been a pretty good series. Can't complain. We've had really good games, so really cannot complain at all, but I do think this might be coming to a close. Let's see what this fight looks like as 11 SCVs go down and make it somewhat bearable or manageable from Clem, but it's just not going to be enough. You can already see it kind of falling apart a little bit here, and Maru is just going to have Vikings chasing down as well. Good attempts. Just like I say, not quite enough when it comes to the end of it. In the end. And that's pretty much just going to be it, guys. I think Maru's got this one in the bag. What can Clem do at this stage? Well, let's see if he can find anything in particular to get done. I mean, it's just rough. You're behind against someone as good as Maru, who is very good at playing out these games. He's very good at making sure he takes his advantage and really runs it all the way home. He's not the sort of guy to slip up in these kind of situations, and that's the biggest issue, right? It's TvT's a matchup which can be drawn out and can be, you know, brought to be a longer game than it was maybe initially meant to be, but against someone like Maru, he just doesn't let that happen against him a lot. In fact, he uses that in his favor more than anyone else. Usually it's always Maru that can draw the game out and turn the game around. So if he can do that from behind, you know, the other side so often, usually you're in trouble if you're the one that needs to do it the other way. So Clem is, I think, in just a bit too much trouble, guys, and I think this might be the end of what has been a very, very fun Europe vs. Korea best of 11. Again, thanks to Olimoleague for putting it on. You can find out more and support the Olimoleague at patreon.com/Olimoleague, !Olimoleague in the Twitch chat if you didn't already. To see more about it, as Maru just keeps on pushing forward. Liberators are sieging. He's got Clem backed into a corner. There is just no good way out at the moment. There really is no good way out, right? Like, he's got nowhere to go at the moment. Marine stem through this orbital is going to go down, and we are going to be having ourselves I mean, if nothing, even if you clean up now, you lost the orbital. Maru is going to get it done. Maru, all kills with a revive. The European team, he gets all 6 of the victories here today, and he will be the player to win this out. GG's.